In this episode of Shiren the Wanderer, we continue our ascent of Table Mountain. First we enter a new area, the old mine and mountain debris. The spike bomb is the first new enemy. Its special ability is explosive damage, triggered when its HP dips below 10. Not attacking it before it explodes is the best strategy. If the spike bomb self-destructed, it lowers our HP to 1 and destroys nearby items on the floor. We want to avoid triggering the explosion. A second new enemy is the Thief Walrus. This beast attempts to steal one of our unequipped items and warps away. If we do not attack it, however, its priority is a floor item. Sacrificing a spare arrow is a good way to distract the walrus. As we saw in Puzzle 39, killing the walrus before it steals guarantees a random drop. If we had a walrus shield to prevent theft, we could obtain an extra item this way. 2 hits deals about 30 damage to the bomb. A third hit would lower its HP to about 5, which triggers explosion. We must track our damage to these bombs. Swinging a sword before entering a room reveals potential traps. We don't want to trigger a trap which may cause sleep, confusion, or other effects when we enter a room possibly filled with monsters. The Skull Mage is an old enemy from Mountaintop Forest. A level 1 monster, its magic spells are still too weak to harm us. When we meet its higher forms though, we cannot approach it with just brawn. We find our first jar. Unidentified with yellow text, it's likely a chiropractor jar because it can be pressed when we select it in the inventory. Pressing it heals our HP. Most jars are insert jars, which are harder to ID because there are so many of them. We can take this jar back to Guybera in Mountaintop Town, but this is a no backtracking run. Even when we're in a dimly lit passageway, we can attack monsters with our long-range weapons, weakening it before the final blow. We weakened this mage earlier with arrows. Swinging sword trap strategy here. If we trigger the stumble trap, we will drop items on the floor. There's little risk and we are in the last room of the floor. Dropping jars, however, may break them. We did not encounter Death Reaper, though it spawns in this floor. Its high speed is the important thing to note. Tiger Yuho. It throws us at enemies and enemies at us. If anything then dies, it levels up. In particular, it may throw us at spike bombs we encountered earlier, which can then explode. Furthermore, it can hurl us into a monster house if one exists on this floor. A monster house is a room densely filled with traps, monsters, and items. In floors starting from the old mine, a monster house may potentially spawn. Handling monster houses is shown in the annotation. We note the blue text for blessing. Blue text corresponds to an item we need to throw at the NPC. The old priest removes item curses if we throw a scroll of blessing at him. We don't have a spare scroll, as the one we just found may be useful in later floors. Here we find an insert jar. It may be a jar of holding, change, or hiding. We can ID it in the next rest area. We can try to use it, consuming it or one of its slots. The next rest area is only 5 floors though, so we can wait. These Gitans are useful against high defense enemies, such as the Tiger. Throwing Gitans deals damage equal to 10% of the pile number. For instance, 10% of 382 Gitans inflicts 38 damage, higher than what we can deal with the sword. Strangely, the Skull Mage can haste us for about 10 turns. We can now take 2 turns for every one of the Skull Mage. In a monster house, haste from a Skull Mage would actually benefit us. Another room on this floor is unlikely. Let's head to the exit. Unless we meet a little girl first. Sorala is not an enemy. Instead, we must escort her to the next rest town. As an ally, she does not attack other enemies, but most allies have terrible AI anyway. Janus Valley is not a rest area. For instance, our yellow text items are not identified. Instead, it's the location of a side quest and bonus dungeon we cannot yet unlock. Let's head to the next area, the cavern in the cliff. We meet one monster that could have spawned in an earlier floor. With double speed, the baby tank, part of the Boboy family, shoots iron arrows at us. The soldier ant is a weak enemy that digs walls. We find the exit early. We want to reach the next town as early as possible, and we don't want to be separated from the girl, failing the escort mission. It's best to sacrifice the items and experience to lead her safely. The cursed girl can curse one of our items per turn. Cursed items can no longer be used until uncursed. Cursed equipment cannot be removed and lose all special abilities. For instance, our hide shield, if cursed, no longer has our hunger rate. We did not throw the blessing scroll at the old priest, so we can still remove item curses. The doppelganger staff, which we may need near the end of the game, is more important than the scroll of need right now. Another cursed girl. We don't want to fight close range or else it will curse us again. An Air Blessed scroll increases sword strength and removes a weapon's curse. With a spare unidentified katana, if it was cursed, we could have removed the hex with the scroll. Because it was just a regular katana, let's upgrade our master sword instead. The enemy above, a hidden eye, has high attack but low defense. It never approaches us in a room. We can't make it come to us, so we have to rely on long-range weapons. The next enemy, a piggy, can throw stones at us. Its level 1 form is weak, but its upgraded cousins have high attack and projectile range. Here we see the hidden eye deals high damage and approaches us in a dark area like a passageway. Its low defense is its downfall. Starting in the old mine and the cliffs, hidden treasure rooms appear. In these rooms, there are several $1,000s in gitans for the discoverer. The village elder of Mountaintop Town had advised us to carry a pickaxe to dig for these hidden rooms. However, pickaxes are uncommon and fragile. As we saw in Puzzle 13, they have a chance to break any time. In addition, we don't even know where to dig. A scroll of light or armband of sight can reveal these locations, if they existed. For now, let's not worry about this. The Cave of Mountain Spirits introduces several new enemies. The first enemy we encounter is the ghost Pacorepkin. It can phase through walls, so that it's invulnerable while attacking us. Recruitable allies lack the AI to retreat and often die to a Pacorepkin for this reason. Unlike most enemies, the Inferno has not 4 but 99 levels. At level 1, it's already tough, so we do not want to deal with the higher forms. To defeat the Inferno, we usually want to use melee combat. Projectiles are not useful as they are incinerated by its flames. Only 2 more floors before the next rest town. The Cherrywood staff will then be ID'd as well. As we can't swing a normal sword through corners, we must kill the Pacorepkin with a projectile. Undead, it's weak to healing items, but gitans are more disposable. Floor 13 has no new specific enemies that could not have spawned in floor 12. Erratically moving, Pacorepkins are difficult because they may attack us in the passageway. Drawing it out into a room is the best strategy, or the monster can just lose interest in us entirely. Now we find the Popster Tank. Slow, it can blast us and the little girl for 20 fixed damage. We want to keep the little girl healthy, so a Scroll of Sleep gives us 10 free turns to kill the tank before it then increases in speed. The increase in speed is the only drawback of the scroll. Finally, we meet the Kignys. Like the Inferno, the Kignys can level up to 99. This monster is more dangerous though, because it attacks other beasts. If it kills anything, very likely, it will level up. We do not want to fight a Kigny 10. However, a Kigny starts with level asleep and wakes up when we enter a room. Thus we can see what it is doing on our screen, and we don't have to worry about it killing other monsters in rooms we have not yet explored, leveling up and then stalking us. Fitting that a pig wakes up when food is being eaten. If the Popster Tank shoots when the Inferno wakes up and attacks us, the explosion will force the Infernos to clone, leading to a never-ending army of monsters. We need to kill the Popster Tank first. In the room of the stairs, we still cannot catch a break, a Pacorepkin targeting the little girl. Fortunately, she knows to get out of the way. Let's heal up and travel to the last floor for today. Again, no new enemies spawn exclusively in floor 14. We have the same threats again, Pacorepkin, Kignys, and Popster Tank. From the map overlay, we can guess that there are 8 rooms to this floor. The clue is that the room leads to a long passageway on the north section of the map. We can confirm our hypothesis by the end of the level. Now would be actually a good time to consume an herb of sight. One floor away from the rest town, we don't want to fail our escort mission. The herb of sight reveals traps with X's on the map overlay. One tip on keeping the girl alive is to throw medicinal herbs to heal her. As of now, she is still healthy, but we may need to heal her later. We are running out of inventory space. We can consume one of the medicinal herbs when we are at full health and increase our max HP by 1. Now we have room for some gitans. Whenever 2 sleeping monsters reside near an entrance, we are likely about to enter a monster house. We want to kill the Popster Tank first. If it shoots at us, it will destroy the surrounding wall, allowing the Kignys to then attack in the same turn. To test for a monster house, we can fire an arrow into the entrance and expect it to wake up an enemy. No response suggests that there is no house. Also, we did not see any traps, which should have been already revealed with the sight herb. To be safe, we can try to enter the room from another way. But for now, let's explore the rest of the floor. We note the Kignys targets the Pacorepkin as it moves northeast in concert with the ghost. We must kill the Kignys first, as we don't want it to level up. Finally, there is one enemy we have yet to encounter. The Nduba is a monster that masquerades as an item on the floor, as shown in the annotation. This enemy is dangerous when we use a healing item found when our health is low. The trick is to never trust new items on the floor. Finally, we are on the other side of the potential monster house room. It was just a regular room, but cautious play is usually the key to success. With the last room pilfered, we can now exit this floor and head to the next rest area, Cryptic Rock Valley.